Greetings, everyone. It's Penn State versus Ohio State time, and the prediction right now is that there's a home advantage to Ohio State that allows them to at least win by 7, if not a blowout. And today, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why Penn State will win this game, and they might even win this game by 20 points. Howdy, this is Greg for, let's call it Football Update. So I had an opportunity to watch Penn State versus Michigan last week. And this week I'm predicting that Penn State will beat Ohio State and possibly by a large amount. And I just want to give you 5 reasons. So the first reason that I give for Penn State winning is that Saquon Barkley is an excellent player. Now, what tends to happen in sports is there's a rule, and the rule is that you always take away the best thing that the other team does. So the number one issue for Ohio State is that they cannot let Saquon Barkley beat them. And so therefore, when we look at how Michigan handled the Penn State threat, it makes it clear that the plan is that Saquon Barkley will not be the main reason why they lose. Now, this is where things get kind of interesting, and everyone is focused on the play in which Saquon Barkley took the direct snap and then ran for a touchdown. And yes, that's an important play. Yes, it was a scoring play. So my number 1 of 5 reasons why I believe Penn State wins is not Saquon Barkley taking direct snaps, etc. My number 1 is when there's an empty backfield and Saquon Barkley is split out, you have to send a linebacker to deal with him. And we saw how that worked out. Saquon Barkley missed a wide open throw, which may have been a touchdown earlier, but he did catch the last one where he just totally ran away from the linebacker from Michigan. Now, this is where I think the big deal sort of happens. Saquon Barkley runs a 4.33 40-yard dash. Now, that is, if you think about it, 4.27, I want to say below 4.3, like 4.27 is the fastest human in the NFL this year. So he's really close to that. So the problem you're having is linebackers carry a decent amount of weight so they can deal with linemen on the blocking side. So the question that comes up is, why would you allow the running back to go out and catch passes without double coverage when you know there's a speed advantage he has against the linebacker that has to cover him? And the answer to this is reason number 2 why I think Penn State wins this game. So Saquon kept going out of the backfield, catching passes, running for large amounts of yards, and there was nothing that could be done or was being done by Michigan. So the answer to this whole situation is all you have to do is double him. Bring a safety over the top or bring a DB over top to cover this, and you're good. There's one problem with that, or there's 3 problems. 1 is Gesicki. 2 is number 84, the tight end on the other side. And 3 is other receivers that they have that are part of the split out. So the problem that you end up having is you're at a size disadvantage in the defensive secondary against both linebackers, and you don't give up such an advantage against the receiver, but he's actually a really good receiver too. So the problem you're running into is there are too many receivers entering the defensive backfield to double team everyone. So the question is, who do you double team and who do you not double team? And this is where I think Penn State has the advantage. Now, the argument against what I just said is the fact that the defensive linemen for Ohio State are excellent, and therefore they're going to occupy the offensive line of Penn State well, and possibly are pushing in to get sacks on the quarterback before he can release short or long throws. So, yeah, I think that's a legitimate argument about the fact that they have excellent pressure that they'll be able to put on without having to blitz linebackers. So where the game is won or lost, I think, is what happens there. So the third reason why I think Penn State wins this is I'm really impressed by Penn State taking the time to understand, A, what their advantages are, and B, scouting themselves to determine how they best can be defended, and then modifying or making game plans to deal with that. So I think the best example of this was, watching Saquon Barkley take all the linebackers with him, depending on the side of the field that he runs to in motion or in any other way. And this allows the other side of the field to be wide open for the quarterback to option off of him and gain large chunks of yardage. So I think that they did a really good job of anticipating how the defenders will react to him. And I just think that this gets into the 3.5 reasons why I think Penn State wins this game, which is all of a sudden you're having Penn State studying their own tendencies and how people react to those tendencies, and then developing a game plan off of that. And I just think that's great coaching. So I think that the great coaching piece is sneaking in there as you see them sophisticated enough to do this. The fourth reason why I think Penn State wins this game is, I want to call it elder statesmen. Elder statesmen that are improving on their craft. So clearly Saquon Barkley, mano a mano, I think he beats his man one-on-one. So everyone has to rally to the ball on the Ohio State side to stop it. And as we discuss this whole bouillabaisse of things that Saquon and the offense does, there pops up this issue in football, which is called possession. So the best way to possess the ball is to just keep running, which I don't think straight ahead runs are going to get it done against Ohio State. They will have to throw in order to get beyond that quality defensive line. The issue, though, is if those throws and movements are short, what I think is going to happen is that you're going to see a lot of effort and energy put out, particularly the first half, by Ohio State to stop Saquon Barkley. And those tired linemen get into the second half, and all you need is one or two missteps or a slower reaction, and now you have huge chunks of yardage being gained by Penn State. So the next issue is fatigue related to all the thinking and effort it takes to stop somebody that's a quality back like Saquon Barkley. And the fact is that, I went to Stanford. I'm a Penn State fan, but what I love is that the coaching at Stanford is kind of screwy because everybody knows who's going to get the ball, like Christian McCaffrey last year and this year Bryce Love. And the offensive coordinators not choosing to modify plays based on how people have traditionally decided to react to your play, I think is a big deal. So maybe 4 and 5 is the fact that if you possess the ball and you score slowly as part of that possession, you make it harder on the other team because you tire out their defense, number one, and number two, you don't leave a lot of time for the opposing side to get it done. And number three, your side actually has a rested defense that can work with it. So as a result, I just think that we end up in a situation here where you end up with a large amount of possession time for Penn State. You end up with Penn State scoring, not easily, they're going to be battling for it. But I just think that that's another issue. The final reason why I think that this is the case is that Penn State, when you look at teams, everybody is throwing out all these numbers on how everybody's throwing numbers out on how dominant Penn State has been against unranked teams and how big those numbers have been. And I'm reminded of one of the famous philosophical lines from Mike Tyson where he says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So when it comes to Penn State in this situation, they definitely have a plan. I believe that they're going to get punched in the mouth. And the question is, how do they react to a good team getting punched in the mouth versus getting punched in the mouth by scrub teams? And I think the schedule that Penn State is, or Ohio State has dealt with, has affected their ability to understand mentally how do you manage what amazing people can do. And so, hence, I believe that these are all subtle elements, but I believe that it adds up to a win by Penn State, because all you need to do is tire out the defensive line of Ohio State, and in the second half, Saquon Barkley can run wild. And if you commit the manpower to try to stop Saquon Barkley, you end up with Gesicki and the other receivers having one-on-one situations where they can easily pull down passes and they can keep on moving the ball. So I do think that, this is a chess match. It's not going to be an easy victory, but I think Penn State wins. And frankly, I don't see why everybody is saying Ohio State wins other than the fact that they're at home and the refs usually cheat for the home team. Look forward to your comments. So my general argument is with Saquon Barkley at the central part of it, combined with the great coaching that leverages his capabilities, I just think that they as in Ohio State, doesn't have a similar nucleus for how to work their win that Penn State has. Thanks for watching. Please like and comment. Look forward to posting more.